Brother Lai leaned forward, his face tense with worry as he checked on Han Fang. Despite his concerned question, Han Fang remained silent, his head bowed under an invisible weight. Han Fang let out a tired breath, his eyes barely open as he muttered something under his breath, his exhaustion evident. Moments later, he was seen in a more relaxed setting, slumping back into a cozy chair in his bright yellow sweater. Letting out a deep yawn, he stretched lazily and remarked how the ordeal had finally come to an end. Brother Lai laughed as he looked around the spacious and cozy room, surprised that you had such a comfortable place on this floor. Han Fang lounged casually on the sofa. Ya quietly observed from her spot at the table, surrounded by the warm glow of header, which made the room feel even more inviting. Han Fang held his phone, a small smile crossing his face as he remarked that having his help was the only reason they could pull off their recent act. With a decisive nod, he suggested they follow the next steps exactly as planned. Han Fang pointed decisively towards the room, instructing Ya and Brother Lai to pack up everything inside. He emphasized leaving behind any unnecessary trash or packaging, ensuring only the essential items were taken. Brother Lai hesitated, clearly confused about the plan, and questioned Han Fang's intentions as he was asked to open the windows to rapidly lower the room's temperature. Brother Lai's frustration was evident as he demanded to know what Han Fang was really trying to achieve, while Han Fang maintained his calm demeanor. He stood firm, gripping his weapon tightly as he explained his strategy. They had been struggling for a long time, ensuring their adversaries would waste energy breaking through only to find nothing worthwhile. Later, as the group gathered around the table for a meal, Han Fang discussed the stakes with Brother Lai and Ya. He pointed out how deploying such an elaborate operation and returning empty-handed would undoubtedly trigger outrage among their opponents. The group crowd gathered outside, murmuring anxiously. Meanwhile, back indoors, Han Fang analyzed the situation, confident that the focus of blame would shift onto others, ensuring their team remained out of the spotlight. Brother Lai voiced his concerns, emphasizing that even with a gun, their position wasn't secure due to the overwhelming number of opponents. He pointed out that a single misstep could lead to their weapon being seized, making things worse. Han Fang nodded gravely, acknowledging that such an outcome would indeed be the worst-case scenario they needed to avoid. Han Fang considered the implications of acquiring a gun, speculating that the opposing group might try to maintain their image by resolving the conflict peacefully rather than escalating it. Brother Lai, however, wasn't convinced and raised the concern of what might happen if the group decided to open fire instead. Han Fang, with a calm but sharp tone, pointed out a critical detail: the gun only had one bullet, which he had already used earlier. This revelation left Brother Lai and Ya visibly startled, as the already fragile situation seemed even more precarious. Brother Lai stared at Han Fang in shock, piecing it together. He exclaimed that Han Fang must have intentionally let the gun be seized as part of his plan. Han Fang, unfazed, nodded with a sly smile, confirming that even such a risky move was calculated. Later, the group sat down for a meal, with Brother Lai jokingly suggesting they should just lay low, act miserable, and hope for a windfall. Ya, quietly munching on her food, appeared amused. Han Fang, however, dismissed the idea, stating firmly that their next move would focus on completing the core mission, leaving no room for hesitation. Zhang's group marched purposefully through the dimly lit hallway, Zhang radiating determination as he rallied them with a call to overthrow the committee. The crowd gathered in the dimly lit underground space, forming a line as a man in a hooded jacket barked orders, demanding everyone to stay in line and not cut ahead. Meanwhile, Zhang sat at a table surrounded by supplies and stacks of boxes, while the line of people stretched back, waiting for their turn. In the dim corridor, Zhang at the distribution table diligently handed out supplies. Boxes of goods were stacked nearby. A short distance away, two men, one holding a flashlight and the other carrying a box, conversed quietly. The man with the flashlight reassured his companion that every exit was thoroughly checked and secure. Brother Lai and Han Fang sat against the cold wall, their bodies tense and visibly battered. Brother Lai leaned slightly towards Han Fang, whispering something. Han Fang, with his usual calm but sharp demeanor, stroked his chin thoughtfully, as though calculating their next move. Brother Lai explained the layout of the building, pointing out that the first 4 floors were cleared, while the 5th and 6th floors were occupied by staff and families. The 7th and 8th floors remained inaccessible, likely guarded. He speculated that the warehouse they were looking for was probably located on the upper levels. Meanwhile, armed with a metal pipe, Brother Lai strategized their next move. He volunteered to head up and distract the guards while Han Fang used the opportunity to infiltrate and disrupt their plans. Han Fang nodded silently, ready for the task ahead. Brother Lai and Han Fang cautiously ascended the dimly lit staircase, their weapons ready as they scanned for any signs of movement. Brother Lai whispered his confusion, wondering aloud where everyone had gone. Perhaps they were taking a break to eat. Reaching another floor, they noticed it too was eerily empty. Brother Lai, trying to calm Han Fang's rising tension, advised him not to overthink the situation. He reached the 7th floor, pausing in front of the marked door. Han Fang questioned whether the supplies were truly stored on these upper levels. Brother Lai hesitated, admitting he wasn't entirely sure in such uncertain circumstances. As they cautiously peered around the corner, Brother Lai's frustration grew. Not only were there no guards in sight, but the complete absence of anyone felt suspicious. He muttered about how strange it was not to see even a single soul. He moved cautiously through the dim corridor, their flashlights piercing the darkness. Brother Lai suggested they split up to search, instructing Han Fang to take the left while he covered the right, with a plan to call out if anything suspicious arose. Han Fang nodded in agreement, gripping his weapon tightly. As they progressed, Han Fang let out a quiet sigh, remarking to himself that he had expected more resistance along the way. Still, he rationalized that this reconnaissance mission was meant to scout the area rather than engage in a full confrontation. As the group gathered around the table, Han Fang calmly explained the situation. He pointed out that the committee had too many members for them to defeat head-on. Instead, he proposed that the only way to dismantle their power was by targeting them from within. He listened intently while Brother Lai leaned forward, asking how they could accomplish such a task. He confidently elaborated, describing the committee as an organization that thrived on controlling resources. He suggested that if they could locate the warehouse storing their supplies and empty it, the committee's structure would collapse instantly. Han Fang moved cautiously through the dim corridor, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. Muttering to himself, he acknowledged the difficulty of locating the exact room where the supplies might be hidden. His mind remained alert, aware of the possibility of someone suddenly appearing and catching them off guard. Just as his thoughts wandered, he froze, his eyes widening in surprise. In the distance, Brother Lai moved, its silhouette barely visible in the dim light. "Did we actually find it?" he murmured under his breath, gripping his weapon tightly. Han Fang, with a nervous grin, tried to explain himself, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Brother Lai hesitated, questioning whether such an obvious label could be a trap. Han Fang, still unsure, tilted his head and responded with skepticism, wondering if it might actually just be what it seemed, a storage room. Han Fang pointed out the lock on the door, noting how unusually secure it was. Brother Lai, holding the flashlight steady, dismissed the concern casually, suggesting it might have been left locked by mistake. "We'll know once we open it," he added confidently, moving closer to inspect the door. Both of them readied themselves. As Brother Lai moved to unlock the door, Han Fang quickly grabbed his arm, shouting for him to wait. Han Fang pointed out the setup, calling it a textbook trap designed to catch them off guard. Brother Lai leaned in closer, muttering how elaborate and suspicious the mechanism looked. Han Fang urged caution, emphasizing that whoever set this up was meticulous enough to even rig explosives, making it impossible to predict what might be hidden behind the door. Han Fang recalled overhearing the two men earlier, mentioning something suspicious about the warehouse door. He speculated that their conversation might have been a hint about the trap they now faced. Brother Lai, nodding in agreement, acknowledged Han Fang's sharp observation. Han Fang then emphasized the importance of not rushing into anything. He proposed they first figure out what was inside the warehouse before making any drastic moves, suggesting they proceed cautiously and check the upper floors later. Brother Lai, with a serious expression, agreed to the plan, ready to follow Han Fang's lead. Han Fang dashed through the dim hallway, his flashlight illuminating the path ahead as he moved with precision and speed. Brother Lai followed closely behind, gripping his weapon tightly. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the corridor, shouting for them to stop. Without hesitation, they pressed forward cautiously, their flashlights sweeping across the cracked walls and damp floor. As Han Fang and Brother Lai navigated the dim hallway, Han Fang suddenly called out a warning, his sharp eyes catching movement. A man leaped from the shadows, wielding a weapon aimed at Brother Lai. Reacting swiftly, Han Fang raised his pipe to block the incoming strike. Without hesitation, Brother Lai counterattacked, landing a powerful kick that sent the guard staggering backward. He yelled for Han Fang to escape, urging him to leave the fight and secure their mission. While Brother Lai stood his ground, ready for the next move. As Brother Lai smashed against the locked door, Han Fang questioned the earlier assumption that no one would be around when supplies were distributed. Brother Lai, frustrated, admitted he hadn't been allowed on this floor previously, which left him uncertain. Suddenly, they heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching, and Han Fang quickly alerted Brother Lai to the presence of someone nearby. Deciding not to engage directly, Han Fang suggested they continue upstairs to avoid unnecessary confrontation. Brother Lai nodded in agreement, and they cautiously climbed the stairs. Reaching the 8th floor, they stopped momentarily to assess the surroundings. Brother Lai noticed something off about Han Fang's posture, drawing his attention to his injured hand. Han Fang, clutching his arm, muttered through gritted teeth that it felt as if the bone might be broken. Despite the pain, he suggested they find a secure spot to rest, hinting at his worsening condition. Brother Lai, visibly concerned, nodded in agreement, but his face suddenly twisted in fear. Han Fang froze as Brother Lai's terrified expression confirmed that something or someone was looming right behind him. His stuttering voice broke through the silence as he pointed behind Han Fang, eyes wide in panic. Han Fang was caught off guard as a strong hand clamped over his face, muffling his exclamation of surprise. Before he could react, he was violently pulled backward through the doorway, his legs flailing helplessly in the air.
This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video.